Hey guys, welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. Today we're talking Zet plates for the MWS. Why is this important? Well, if you're ever having trouble with your bolt catch, you want to watch this video. So when you first get your MWS, you'll probably have done nothing to it. It'll be a stock gun. And when you start playing with it, you might notice that every so often the bolt doesn't actually lock back. And that ruins the immersion. It also means that you're kind of wasting gas and you're also pulling the trigger and you think you're shooting and maybe actually you're not. So how do you go about getting better bolt lock? You can unscrew your buffer tube one turn, which is not ideal. I don't really recommend doing this. It's in that far for a reason. I wouldn't mess with it. That's not my preferred choice. The second one is running low power gas like the system is designed to actually be used in. This means that the bolt will travel a little bit slower and it actually gives it a little bit more time to catch, especially if you're in a country that's a little bit warmer. But say you want to throw all that to the wind, and actually there are a few upgrades that you can get for the MWS, and we're going to be talking about those today because they actually do improve your bolt lock capability. The second reason this may be really important to you is if you're thinking about running a bad lever. So the Magpul bad lever drops straight onto the stock MWS system, but you will sometimes find again that the bolt won't catch when it gets all the way to the back. So traditionally, I've said to people, the best thing to go for is actually the Guns Modify. And Guns Modify did a steel version of the Zet plate, is what it's called. That's the bolt catching part. And it was basically, it came in at about 7 grams. And it did for the most part work, but it actually didn't work all the time. So enter the new contender, BAVTAC. Now, full disclosure, BAVTAC sent me one of their Zet plates to test out, and they sent it to me quite a while ago. So it's taken me a while to do this. But I actually put it into one of my MWSs that was having consistent bolt lock failure. So the one that I'm talking about is this one here. So this has been checked. There is nothing in here. It's a completely clear airsoft gun. So nothing to worry about, no danger. But actually what I was finding was, as I was using it, I really liked the recoil impulse that I was getting from it. And as soon as I started removing some of the buffers or the spacers from the end of the buffer tube to give myself extra dwell time, I didn't actually like the recoil impulse. So I kind of ended up going back to just accepting that I was going to have to accept this gun with a constant bolt lock failure. So as soon as I put the BAVTAC in, immediately that went away. And I thought, okay, this is a little bit too good to be true. This is going to basically take more testing. Now, what the BAVTAC one actually does is it's 2 grams lighter than the Guns Modify one that I used to use. It's also made of stronger material. So instead of being made of steel, it's actually made of titanium. And because of that, it actually sets itself apart from the steel one significantly. So let's have a look. So this is the original Zet plate that you would get with your Tokyo Marui MWS. Over the years, I've also bought a couple of others. So I bought this revanchist one and I found this to be pretty awful. It's got some damage on it as well. It's not really a fan. But if I put these, if I line them up together, pretty much, you can see that the point that the point that catches onto the bolt, so essentially we will be here. Yeah, it's in exactly the same place on these two. So let's put this one down because I think that's the worst. Now let's have a look at the Guns Modify. And you can see when you line them up, actually the point here has moved ever so slightly further forward. Now, the reason that they're able to do that was because they'd use steel as their material. Now let's overlay the BAVTAC. Look what they've done. They've gone right to the very front here. Now, I was concerned, and this is why it took me so long to come out with this video, because I wanted to test this under kind of like all the different conditions. So if you are having bolt lock, like this will definitely literally because of physics, this will give you a better bolt lock. So, and the fact that they have now also, they've made it 2 grams lighter than this version. So like Guns Modify is 7 grams. This comes in at 5 grams. And you can see it's like the way that it's actually shaped, they've made it beefier. It's actually beefier and lighter and stronger. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, hang on, he's talking about having one in that gun and then he's showing me this one here. Well, there is a good reason for that. It's because I went out and bought another one. So I think that pretty much tells you everything that you need to know about this particular bit of kit. I have not seen any deformation whatsoever in using this BAVTAC one in here, and I've been running it with high speed setups, with low speed, like high recoil, like lower speed setups as well. It does just chug through. Now, are you still going to get the occasional bolt lock failure? Yeah, you just are. Like sometimes you put in really like hot gas, you put in some red gas on a 30-degree day and you're using like a really light bolt. It's just too fast. Like the physics just don't work for it. But if there is any chance that it's going to catch, what BAVTAC have done is they have moved it as far forward as you could possibly go for this catching point. And that gives you the best opportunity to get like a consistent and solid bolt lock. Now, I have done thousands of bolt lock cycles on this and there is like no damage on here whatsoever. It just runs and it's nice. It's good that it doesn't have, you don't have to think about it, and that's what it's supposed to do. You know, you're not supposed to have to be like, bang, bang, hang on, there's nothing coming out. Because sometimes, you know, in the middle of a firefight, you're kind of concentrating on what you're doing. You should always be watching your BBs, to be honest. But sometimes you're doing that snap shooting, and if the gun cycles, you expect it to be shooting. And if it's not, that's a bit of a problem. So there is nothing in this mag. Again, I will double check the chamber in here, and just in case I will still put some goggles on to be extra safe. There's no one else in this room, but this is, it's like 20 something degrees today. Bang, like bolt lock. I was not getting that before. This thing is just, and if I was to swap back to the Guns Modify, back to this one, that wouldn't have happened. It was bolt lock failure pretty much every single time. And now I've got the feel that I want from this particular riff, and I've also got the bolt lock function. So I want to say just a massive thank you to BAVTAC for sending me one over. I don't think they realised that I'd gone out and bought a second one, and I'm now going to put this in my other DMR build because that one still has some bolt lock issues. I'm really lucky that my my Mark 18, that one pretty much bolt locks every time, so I'm not going to do any kind of upgrade on that one. But certainly with my other DMR Geisley build, that sometimes has a bolt lock issue. It's basically because I'm running lighter bolts and they're moving that much faster in my DMR builds. If you're using any kind of magnified optic, you don't want to be running like a heavy recoil setup because the BBs aren't traveling that far and that fast, and it shakes up your sight picture and it's just a nightmare. So anything that I'm using for long range shooting, I tend to go for like lower recoil on it. And that's why I've had bolt lock issues with my kind of higher speed, like higher FPS setups as well. So that is now going to get dropped into my other Geisley build, and that should sort all my bolt lock issues. If it doesn't, I'll feed back, but certainly there is no better chance. Like, you can't move that point physically any further forward, and having slammed some heavy bolts against this, it's smashing it. It's really good. Really good. So thank you, BAVTAC. You can get them from the BAVTAC website. I will put a link down below to where you can get them. And I think, well, you can definitely also get them at Fire Support if they've got them in stock there. And I've got a feeling that Jaeger Precision as well may do may also have a link to them. But support these local small retailers. I'd love to see some of these products getting overseas, out to Hong Kong and places like that, so that other people can enjoy this really consistent bolt lock feature. And yeah, I'll stand by this product 100%. I think this is, if you've got an MWS, any kind of bolt lock features, or maybe you just get bolt lock issues in the summer or something like that, there's pretty much no reason not to switch out for one of these. You don't have to necessarily go for the rainbow colored one, but it's cool. It's just cool. There you go. That's it. It's cool. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, guys. I really appreciate it, as always. If you like this video, let me know down below. Let me know what you want to see next, but I'm hoping to be, I'm going shooting tomorrow, and I'm hoping to get some footage of the Sega 12K in action, because I missed out last time and it was so much fun. It was ridiculous. Anyway, enough about that. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.